Musings from the tiny little studio on this tiny little Greek island. Oh boy, I'm just getting in. It's noon. I've been up since 6 and doing all the other things, right? Today I have a preparation for a podcast that I'll be recording 6:30 my time here because the person interviewing me is in the United States, so we have that time difference. So I'm getting ready for that. That's for my other channel, the Vita Goes Carnivore channel, that talks about my journey through that. So I've got that also on my plate today, and I read an article very briefly. I couldn't possibly explain it in Science Earth magazine. It was a science magazine, and it's about this discovery of dark oxygen. Has anybody heard of that? Dark oxygen. It sounds creepy, but apparently at the bottom of the sea, these rocks where there's no light, there's no possibility of photosynthesis happening, these rocks are creating oxygen. And so, when you think about it, if this new discovery is in fact as they suggest or as they are saying, then we have to go back and rewrite all of our science books for the past, I don't know what, I don't know, I would imagine like at least 150 years ago, something like that, with this whole photosynthesis idea that we always believed and thought this is the way it is. But apparently, oxygen does not need the sunlight to be oxygen. And what does that have to do with being here in this tiny little studio? And for me, I was thinking about that, going, wow, dark oxygen, oxygen that happens without photosynthesis. That is wild. And then, I think rather than, I'm sure I can bring this to painting in some way. And it has to do with the idea that the things that we believe and we take for granted, that's just the way it is. Like photosynthesis is where oxygen comes from. Then we actually do not even play with the idea that maybe oxygen can come from something else as well, like rocks. Who would ever imagine? Who would ever imagine rocks with no sunlight, no photosynthesis, and we're getting oxygen? So that really blows things out of the water. So what happens when you come to your artwork? And I have done this. In fact, it's kind of happening with this so-called realism kind of painting. I'm not exactly following the way it's supposedly done. I don't know if there's one right way or another, but my understanding of painting, based on what I have learned, what I believe to be true about painting and how it should be done, are simply my beliefs, based on my previous experience of how I learned how to paint and what painting means to me. And it's in fact a very limited view. You know, you do this, you do that, and there you go. Poof, oxygen. And that's the way it's done. And then you find out that there is dark oxygen. Oxygen is about from rocks. Oh my goodness, I'm losing internet. Here we go again. Let me see if I disappear. and it's all a discovery. It is a continual, daily discovery. Understand. Wow, it is quite a journey. It is such a cool journey. So, yeah, so I think inwardly, it's another kind of discovery when you know how you uncover things about yourself, and you see things, usually the things you don't like, because it's the things that we don't like about us that we tend to just keep our blinders on and keep going, because who wants to look at all of that? And then so you see it and you understand it and you're like, okay, yeah, okay, all right, that I don't like that part about me, but at least I see it. Now I understand it, so I can move on. And then, oh, is it really blurry? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about that. Yeah. The island internet and the my abilities, I haven't had the chance to fix it. Most days it's pretty good. I'm sorry it's blurry today. I really am. But I mean, again, there's not a whole lot I can do with it. Thanks for letting me know. I'll check it out when I'm getting this live up and out on the YouTube channel, if it's fixable in some way. So when you look at these things within, right, and you suddenly discover that my way of expressing myself in this way is just one version of it. It just happens to be the version that I see and that I use and that I understand. But if I peel back that layer, there may be even more that maybe I don't want to see, or that I have never understood, or never even imagined that I am, in fact, a little bit like that as well. That I'm saying in a way of, maybe I didn't want to see that negative side of me. And so I don't know, maybe it's just a matter of discovery, and you just kind of go through your life, and there it is. These things happen, things change. We come into our painting, we try something new, and there are always discoveries when you're doing something new, when you're pushing beyond your boundaries. And so I think not all of it, the things that we learn, are useful in our daily lives. But it's kind of neat to uncover it and look at it and say, oh, I found that. Oh, I found that I am, in fact, I can be very, very egotistical. I can be vain. I've said that before because I never, ever, ever dreamed that I could possibly carry vanity. But apparently I do, especially now that I'm getting older and I'm getting the wrinkles and I'm starting to like move into those, old. I mean, I'm 60. I'm going to be 61 in May. So it's like, yeah, there's a certain amount of vanity coming through. And I have it. I don't want to look at that. That's my dark oxygen. I would much rather look at everything in the light, everything that's beautiful, everything that I like, and, keep it that way. However, when you discover these other parts of you, when you discover other extensions of the things that you learned and believed in about painting, it just makes the wealth of your space, of your tiny little studio, just a little bit more exciting. At least it does for me. A little bit more, what would be the word, you guys? Somebody pick a word for me. If Brazen is here, Brazen will find the word for me. But just something, I mean, I said a little bit more exciting, it's a little bit more interesting, something that is if you're like me, you like to take something and just kind of chew on it for a while and think about it and wonder about it and think of all the possibilities that might happen from it. So that was an interesting thing. And on top of that, learning about dark oxygen, I also took one of these, it's this little graph that has a bunch of Q's, the capital Q's, Q, 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 like, this, and then 1 0 is in there. So you've got two of those, right next to each other. And the little test is how quickly can you find the 0? And supposedly, depending on how quickly you find the 0, and then there's this little graphic, a little cartoon graphic of somebody going, or doing something like that. And the test is how quickly you can find the 0. And so I looked at it and almost immediately found the 0 in both of the graphs. I didn't even notice the little guy, little cartoon character. And I had always, when I read about it, let me say this. It says that I have supposedly the ability to concentrate. That I can concentrate, I can focus, and I have that ability, and that the ADHD types of people would have gotten stuck on the cartoon character and like looking at that and getting into that, or taking a much longer time finding the 0. And because I always believed undiagnosed ADHD type person, I read that and I thought, what? And then started wondering, what if I'm not really an ADHD type person? Maybe I was. I think I pretty much was. Most people say, yeah. And other tests that I have taken online, like I said, undiagnosed, I haven't been anywhere to have that proclaimed on top of me, you are ADHD. Where's Brazen? Brazen-hearted, when you see this, if you're not here right now, I know you'll have something to say about it. And it was just fun because it was like, oh, dark oxygen, and maybe I'm not an ADHD type. That was my very, very interesting morning. Of course, I did many other things besides think of things like that. And now I'm going to go in and do my 15-minute painting practice on my sheep, and I'll pull my little sheep together because we are back in communication. My creative block effectively disappearing yesterday as I put on my 15-minute timer and just said, I'm going to paint for 15 minutes. That's it. Whether I want to or not, it's just a matter of painting. And I feel really excited about it today because I actually, within minutes of forcing myself to paint, within minutes, I got swept back into that beautiful, creative place, you know? And I like being there. So going again right now, and then sit down and write. I have loads and loads and loads of writing to do, and then get ready for the podcast. So that's it, you guys. Hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Tomorrow is Friday. I will see you all again tomorrow. Be inspired, be creative, be you. Have a beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful day. Take care.